But very public feud between two of the top three Democrats dashed hopes of a smooth transition once Senate Minority Leader Harry Reid retires. Just last week, Senator Dick Durbin of Illinois backed Senator Chuck Schumer, of course from New York, to step into the role of Senate Minority Leader, with Reid offering his support shortly after. But Durbin is saying that the same time he told Schumer he wouldn't challenge him for the position, Schumer pledged his support for Durbin to hang on to the #2 job as Democratic whip. That's a conversation that Schumer says never happened. Joining us now, our political analyst, New York Post political columnist, Fred Dicker. Fred, you always assume that there's a lot of back and forthing going on in these kinds of deals that are being made to, sort of assume power or give power. What is it? Do you have any insight on what might be going on here?
Well, absolutely. I mean, Dick Durbin really is in a very difficult situation now. Chuck Schumer obviously riding high, assuming, of course, that he wins re-election next year. For him to become the Democratic leader of the Senate, he has to get re-elected. That will make him very powerful, obviously very good for New York, whether he's the majority leader or the minority leader. But Dick Durbin has an interesting history, and apparently it's rooted to some degree in this dispute. Dick Durbin was known for attacking Wall Street after the 2008 meltdown, blaming a lot of New York banks, the Wall Street investment banks, for the problems in the economy. Chuck Schumer is notorious, or well known, I'm sure he's proud of it, for being a strong supporter of Wall Street. Not only do they raise a lot of money for the Democrats, but it's major industry in New York that provides a lot of revenue for us here in New York. So there's been tension over that. Schumer also is more of a moderate on international affairs, especially in the Middle East. Durbin was once dubbed by some of his critics Dick Turbin for being so kind of harshly opposed to President Bush's efforts to respond to the 9/11 attacks of 2001. So they have ideological differences, they have personal differences, and to have something, though, involving the Senate so fundamental of who's lying is very, very unusual and obviously bitter.
Obviously, there's a lot more than bragging rights at stake here. Can you tell us a little bit about what it means to those of us sitting watching this feud play out? How do we benefit if Schumer is the top guy?
Well, any leader, we know it in the legislature here in Albany, and certainly we'll know it in Washington, who's a major political leader, can affect things ranging from what gets into the budget to major pork barrel programs for the state, as well as, kind of the direction of the country reflecting the state he comes from. So it could be very important for New Yorkers to have someone rise to the top, as Schumer appears poised to. He's already been very powerful. But, it's something that many people know Schumer very well. I covered him when he was in the Assembly. Been around a long time. But this bitter fight can probably, if it doesn't end soon, help the Republicans, because we may wind up with a very divided Democratic conference in the Senate.
All right, we'll see what happens next. Sure. Schumer, always a formidable opponent, so we'll see how he handles this for sure. Thank you, Fred. You can hear Fred on the radio live in the state capitol weekday mornings, 10 to 11 on Talk 1300 AM.